Hi everybody, it is time for me to do my April goals, like go through my April goals, check in with them, and then get my May goals set for 2023. This is my Makselife planner. I'm following the Makselife system, etc., etc. If you're interested in more about this, you can check out the videos down below. I am currently wearing a sweater because it is raining and cold because spring just doesn't know how to spring in Colorado. So yeah. Anyway, I'm in the last week of April right now, so a few of these aren't done, and they're likely to get done this week. On the same note, though, there are some that are not going to get done, so we'll talk about that right now. For my personal goals, the focus was to nail down my evening? How many syllables does that word have? My evening ritual. I actually did not do a very good job of this, in part because dialysis has been a ride. I'm a home hemodialysis patient. I've been doing it at home for a couple months now, and I've just had some really ups and downs this month. And so some nights I'm crashing and other nights I'm wired. On top of that, the Sacramento Kings are in the basketball playoffs. They're my team. I have loved them for a couple of decades now, since my kids were wee babies. And they're now both high school, almost out of high school and out of high school. So it tells you some sense of time. And that's kept me up on some nights. So I think I'm going to be carrying that over into May for my personal goals, because I still do want to do that. As for the other bits and pieces on here, I haven't checked plants off yet because I haven't gotten to the end of the month, but that's going okay. I did not repot any plants this month because just as I felt like I was ready, the weather got really cold and I just don't want to shock my plants. So I think I'm going to put that on hold until maybe June when the weather's a little bit nicer. As for the Makselife stuff, I've stayed relatively on top of it, but I have missed at least one weekly check-in because I was just feeling so awful. And then the thing I crossed off on here was one little word. Yes, I have decided to give that up for this year. I've just discovered that with dialysis and everything else, it's just one thing that I don't really feel compelled to make time for. It felt like an obligation. It wasn't really giving me the same sort of zest as it was the previous year. So I have no problem. I feel good about dropping it because I know that it's a good idea for me. So let's just go with that. So from personal, let's check and see if I can update any of my annual goals. Not really. Okay, let's move to fun and recreation. Get comfortable with a flexible schedule. I feel like that's working for me. So the whole reason I had this goal was because I am feeling so janky on most days. I can't tell you if I'm going to have a good day or a bad day. I don't know. It's really hard to anticipate. And I'm still from everything I've been told in the home hemo groups and from other patients, the first 6 months are a real roller coaster. I thought we would get through the roller coaster in a couple of months because I'm Cindy Guentert-Baldo exceptionalism ? But no. So I'm just going with it. And one thing that I'm trying to do is be less rigid with my schedule. So I have taken 2 days off each week so far. This week, Monday, I did not get Sunday and Monday, I did not get any work done. So we'll see how the rest of the week goes to see if I can manage to take one more day off for the week. But those have been going well. I did take Sunday off. We did go see Muse, which was fucking rock and roll. And also Evanescence was really good live too. Holy shit. My throat hurts just thinking about Amy Lee singing. The one thing we haven't been doing is going out on the trail, but that's because the weather has been so unpredictable. I mean, it's Colorado. This is what happens. Some days are gorgeous springtime days. We've had days in the 80s and we've had snowstorms this month, sometimes in the same week. So I don't feel too bad about that. We did get out of the house with Layla though and go to a fun little event. So I'm not feeling super guilty about it, but yeah, so that's how that's going. Going to fun and recreation. I did get my monthly Sunday off. And other than that, I don't have anything else to update. Work and learning. I wanted to start making artwork. I have gotten through a module each week. I am currently on module 3, so that is actually going really well. As for HB90, like Makselife, I missed one Makselife weekly check-in. That's the same weekly check-in that I missed for HB90. It was this past week, so I'm just not going to worry about it. I got the monthly done. I don't know why I checked off the Q1 review because I didn't do it. And I don't remember why. There was a reason and I can't remember what it was, but I'm fine. Whatever. Moving forward. If it seems like I'm blowing through this, it's because I'm trying not to dwell on the things that I'm I don't want to dwell on the things that I didn't get done, because I can do that. I am totally a dweller. I totally will put myself into a position of feeling awful about myself for not doing something, and I'm trying to avoid that. And sometimes the way to avoid that is to just fucking steamroll your way through shit, and that's what I'm doing now. So take that with as you will. For family and relationships, the focus is to start summer planning, and we actually have done a lot of that. So we have my mother-in-law coming to town. We know when she's coming. She has her plane tickets. My sister and brother-in-law are coming to town. We know when they have their plane tickets. I don't know if my baby sister's going to come or not, and I don't know if my uncle's going to be able to make it out here or not during that time. But those things are figured out. So the decide on family trip is done. Decide on the kids' trips. So I actually should put an S, because it was just the one to go see my sister and brother-in-law, and we're working on that. Also, Sunny is going to go see a friend of theirs in June. We need to get those things hammered out too. That is definitely going to be a priority in May. We had our dinner with friends. We had our dinner with my uncle. I had a date with my friends. I've talked to at least one of my sisters so far each week. Have not done that yet this week, but that's okay. Still have plenty of week to go. Have both dates with Jessie, and the only kid I have left to have a lunch date or whatever with is Sunny, and I'm going to work on that this week. So feeling really good about my family and relationships goal right now. So yeah, that's going well. All right. So for health and wellness, I want to focus on movement. I think movement is going to be my focus next month too, and we're going to talk about that in a hot minute here. But let me first, when we get to the goals, we'll talk about steps, because I have some thoughts. I have been going outside. I stopped tracking my H2O because I needed some more room for another habit. I'm doing fine drinking it though. I'm peeing a lot less. And so I'm just going with my body's cues right now, because fun fact, if you didn't know this, when you start doing dialysis, not the PD form of dialysis usually, but for hemodialysis, if you're peeing when you start, you generally stop peeing at some point, because your kidneys just aren't working anymore and all of your toxins are getting flushed by dialysis, which anyway, we'll move forward with my toxins feelings. There's going to be a point, I'm not there yet, but there is going to be a point where I am very restricted on my fluid intake. And that doesn't just include water, that includes everything. That includes coffee and tea, that includes soda, that includes soup or any other foods that are liquid at room temperature. So I'm not trying to force before I started dialysis, I needed a shit ton of water because of the diuretics and because of how I was doing. But now that I'm on dialysis, my body is adjusting and I am going much more with the cues that it's sending than an arbitrary number. It's not something that's very easy for me, but I'm working on that. Anyway, wearing my Apple Watch every day has been going really well. Tracking steps on my monthly. Again, we'll talk more about that, but I have actually been doing pretty well with that. Peloton I have not been doing well with, and I've just been, on the days I felt good enough, I've usually been watching basketball. And meal planning has gone really well, except for this past week. I didn't really do much meal planning because, again, the days I would have meal planned, I was having a really rough time. We'll talk more about what I'm going to be doing for my movement goals when we get there, but suffice it to say, I have some thoughts. Okay. Spiritual and personal growth. I want to focus on gratitude and meditation. Haven't done either of those things. So we're going to be carrying those forward. Financial. File taxes. We fucking did that the first weekend of April. It was crossed off. The no-buy has been going well. We still haven't had our big budget meeting yet. That's mainly because we're in the process of a couple of other financial movements in our lives, like moving some things around. Once that's done, we're going to really sit down. It's probably going to be a May thing, though. I don't think it's going to finish happening this week. And then for physical environment, I wanted to organize my linen closets and plan out my green stock. The green stock is planned out. It's going to be strawberries and herbs and lettuce, and that's it this year. But it's going to be a lot of them, a lot of basil, a lot of Italian parsley, a lot of strawberries, a lot of lettuce, a lot of cilantro, because we discovered last year what we were really liking eating off of there. And a lot of it was making homemade chimichurri and pesto. And then the only thing I haven't done yet is my Mary Poppins closet in my laundry room, but that is on my list for this week. So hopefully that will get checked off for next month. So those are my April goals. They went, some of them went well, some of them didn't. I would probably say more went well than didn't. I don't know, kind of maybe 50-50, but I'm feeling fine about it. Like, honestly, I'm feeling fine about it because the stuff that didn't get done either didn't get done because of how up and down shit has been, and I got to give myself a break for that, or I just didn't fucking do it, and I'm not going to beat myself up over it. It's okay. Like, if I'm trying to work on my mental health by doing meditation and practicing gratitude, if I didn't get them done, is beating myself up about it going to make me feel any better mentally? No. So I'm not going to do that. Anyway, moving forward. May. All right. So this last month, we're going to look at the monthly calendar. We're going to come to the monthly calendar after I set my goals, but I've got some thoughts. So before I do anything else, before I start, the big thoughts are really around health and wellness, so we'll get there. In the meantime, we're going to start with getting my personal goals. The pen I'm using currently is a Papermate Flare because it happens to be the one that's on my desk. And then I've got my dot markers and my Moxie markers for any highlighting and dots. Colors are listed in the description. Okay, so for my personal focus, it's again, like I said, I'm carrying over the evening ritual and I put do it on there. So I'm taking a different tactic this month. Instead of just putting evening ritual on my habits, I want to add one of these items from my list of things that I would like to incorporate into my evenings. Now, I have other things on my list like doing the dishes and keeping the kitchen cleaned up, but those are things that tend to happen anyway. It's adding the more like ritualistic aspects. So lighting a candle, having a cup of tea, doing body care. Like normally I do throw on like skincare and a little bit of lotion, but I'm talking about like putting the lotion on its skin before it gets the hose again kind of situation. And then putting my phone away. And I have them in this order, but they may not go in this order. I do have the putting my phone away there at the bottom though, probably, because I feel like if I can get everything else feeling good, it might be a little easier to extricate myself from my phone. I'm not sure. We'll see how things go. I'm going to play it by ear. Forgot to add a dot here. So that's going to be the weekly habit. It's not going to be add one each week. It'll be one of these, but I just highlighted the one thing to remind myself that's one habit kind of spot filled in. And then I have another one for plant care. And then for Makselife, I put weekly check-ins and monthly check-in. For fun and recreation, my focus is going to just be keep on keeping on. Honestly, I don't want to worry about going on the trail or anything like that. Like we might do that, but like it's the last month of school for RJ. We've got a lot happening personally that month. I just want to just get through it as best as I can. If we do get out on the trail, I'll make sure to make a note of it. But I do have 2 days off weekly, Sunday off, and then the two other items are the Botanic Gardens plant sale, which I'm just going to count as my museum visit. I already have tickets for that. It's free, but because of COVID protocols that they've still kept in place, you need to like reserve your spot ahead of time. And since the spots that I like to go, the times in the morning when the plants are better, those fill up fast, and that's why being a member is actually a really good thing. And then we're going to see Les Mis in the middle of the month here in Denver, so I'm excited about that. Work and learning looks very similar to last month. I'm going to continue making artwork with that as one of my daily habits, and then I've got all the modules I want to get done this month, as well as my HB90 stuff weekly and monthly. Pretty standard for my work and learning currently. For family and relationships, my focus is to finish scheduling this summer. So the kids' plane tickets for the 2 trips that they're going on, and then reserving our 10-year anniversary room. And then as for dates, 2 with Jesse, 1 with Sunny, 1 with RJ, 1 with friends, and then calling my sisters once a week. So again, very similar to last month, just sort of continuing the vibe. So for health and wellness, I'm going to continue to focus on movement. And a lot of this is the same. Go outside once a day, Peloton, a meal plan once a week. Those are the same as last month. The one I'm doing this month that's new is doing 6K steps per day. And the reason I'm going with that number is because when I look at my past month when I was tracking, my best days, I hit 10K one day. I went to the 8 and the 9s on some days, but then other days it was 7s. And then on the bad days, it was 2, 3, 4,000. Originally, I was like, I'm going to build up to 10,000 steps because that's the thing. Fun fact. Just as I was starting to think about that, Maintenance Phase, one of my favorite podcasts, came out with an episode about the myth of 10K steps and why it was chosen in the first place. And I swear to God, what do you want, RJ? And they were talking, I 10 out of 10 recommend you listen to it, but they were talking about why it's kind of an arbitrary number and that actually 7.5K steps seems to be decent for most people. But for me, the reason I'm interested in tracking steps in the first place is because with being in the dialysis chair 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and with us having Layla in daycare 5 days a week, so she's not getting as many walks from us. She's getting much more exercise at daycare. My step count has gone down, and I'm in my seat a lot. Now, some of this hopefully will get remedied in July, assuming I finish my fuckery flowers, because one of my work goals is to reward myself with a walking pad to put under my standing desk. However, that means I'm going to need to use my standing desk more often as a standing desk to make that also worthwhile. That'll probably be a June goal. I was like, well, then what's the right number of steps? What should I really be doing? Then I realized I was over fucking complicating it for myself. And what I really think is that, well, if my height this last month has been 10K plus, and my low has been like 2K, right? And a lot, but my average has been in the middle somewhere between 5, 6, 7K. Let's just aim for 6K per day and see how that goes. If you can't tell from this video, I'm not going to beat myself up if I don't make it, but it's going to be something I'm going to focus on to try and make sure that I'm getting some movement so my life is not entirely sedentary. And on the days I'm not feeling very good, I'll make a note of that, but I'm also curious as to if there is ways I can go for a walk or something to help make myself feel better, something very gentle. So that is the thing I wanted to kind of bring up. That's kind of the big piece of this whole thing is I gathered some data. I understand kind of how the data is looking for me, but I do recommend listening to that episode, and I'll leave it linked down below, specifically because aside from the fact that they're busting the myth of 10K steps, they also talk about how tracking your steps doesn't always work for people. Sometimes it makes it worse. I am somebody, though, that really gets off on tracking things, so I think I'm okay. Anyway, spiritual and personal growth is going to stay exactly the same as last month. So I decided that I was not going to put making artwork on my habit tracker because I haven't needed to. I keep track of it in Notion, and some days I don't need to do it because I've caught up on everything I want to be caught up on. So I'm not worried about that. I wanted to add gratitude and meditation both to my habit tracker because I can't just... it's obvious that I'm not doing it. So I need to have a little bit more of a reminder for that. But it's basically the same goal as last month. For financial, the focus is to budget. I'm going to continue my no-buy on my habits and do the big budget meeting with Jesse. And then we're going to start food dollar tracking with Sunny. It's not, with the way inflation has been going and everything else, I think it'll be an interesting project to track the prices of the things because we buy almost the same exact shit every single time we shop. So it's an idea of sort of seeing where our expenses are going. And those moves I was talking about earlier should be finished by May, so that will be a good time for us to do the things we have been talking about doing. And then for physical environment, the focus is to do some exterior shit. This will probably be the focus for a while. Plant my green stock. We have some trees that need trimmed. We've been getting bids. We just need to pick the one and schedule it. And then we need to start getting bids on getting some painting and exterior repair work done. Like with the weather we have here, there is, it's just, routine maintenance, but not really. Oh, the HVAC too is this month. We have a wood exterior of our house. So there's some rot that needs to get taken care of and some patching done with the painting. We love the color of our house, so we don't want to change it. We just want to have them do some touch-up work and some other things to get the house ready for next winter. So we want to get all those scheduled early enough in the season so that we don't get hit with higher prices later. And then the other thing that I probably should put on here is plant the backyard lawn, which our fucking yard, oh man, it is so, apparently this is not just us. This has been everybody who's ever owned this house because of the sloping of our yard, the shade, and the fact that our fucking dirt is all sand because that's how they, all of the ground in this area is sand from when they dug out the reservoir near us. So trying to get a backyard lawn for Layla is a pain in the ass. And we want to do a clover, mixed clover yard because it's going to be less water intense and more hardy than just lawn here in the high desert. But anyway, we need to have some sort of lawn because of Layla. The front yard, we got rid of the lawn, but the backyard, we need to keep at least some version of a lawn for her. So that's something we got to start working on this month too. And if you can't tell, I'm not excited about it. Ideally, I'd like to get some more patio furniture too, but I feel like that could be our bonus for actually getting the yard worked on. Anyway, exterior shit. That's my life. So these are my May goals. I'm feeling pretty good about them. Like I said, I'm not worried if I don't get them all finished, but it's some stuff is just kind of rolling right along and other things have been kind of difficult to get a head start on, but I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good about the progress we're making and about my ability to accept that it's okay when I can't make progress. So let's Let's just go with that, shall we? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. What do you have going on in May? I'd love to hear about it. Tell me in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already. And until next time, friends, peace.